Everybody, welcome back to the Better Man podcast.
With Ivan and Sumedh.
We're talking about fucking your inner child. So, are we literally trying to say that there's like a baby inside of you? Yes.
Sometimes, if you get pregnant. Like, what do you mean?
Welcome to the Better Man podcast with Ivan and Sumedh.
First of all, I just want to say that your hair looks awesome, man. It looks like it goes with your brand, like Odd Resilience, the red and the blonde. Like,
Yeah, it was actually going for yellow, but it does look very blonde.
yeah,
Blonde is blonde is basically yellow, right?
basically, yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
brown, but like lighter.
Right. Brown but lighter.
Yeah, so blondes are really just brunettes, but really light. Oh shit! Something interesting.
Yeah, because you have to like bleach your hair first, blonde anyway, before you get any other color. So it's kind of like the basic, like, model.
Yeah. Actually, I did this as an expression of my inner child.
Nice.
Right. When I was little, I always wanted to, dye my hair like cool colors.
Yeah.
But it was like, not like okay for me to do that, right? Could have, partially because you could say the time that we were living in, early 2000s, was not necessarily the most open-minded and understanding, and perhaps a bit more restrained when it came to creativity. And you could also say that I was a kid and my parents were like, "Oh well, I'm not gonna pay for him to bleach his hair and all this stuff like that." But yeah, for me, like these colors, yellow and orange, they're like my soul colors. They're my soul colors, and they make me feel really good. And like
You said orange. It looks more like red to me, bro.
it's actually blood orange.
Blood orange. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see it now. Blood orange.
Yeah, dude, it feels really good. I feel really good. And then, so basically, what happened on this day that I dyed my hair, I'm driving right, and I put this gospel music, right, and the lady starts singing, and I start fucking crying my ass off, like out of nowhere. I was not even expecting this. Right? And I was crying so bad that I couldn't even see the road anymore, right? And I couldn't really tell where the cars were. I was just gauging my distance by the lights, right? You know when the fucking lights become lines? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's basically what it was. And I was just like, okay, I want to reenact it like a little bit just to give like a 10% version of what it was.
Sure, I'm
like
that hurt my earphones.
I'm sorry, listeners, and I'm sorry, Sumedh, but like that's probably like that, but like slightly a bit more intense, and a lot longer. Like it was probably like 10 minutes. And so all right, so it goes way back. So to understand that moment, right, we have to go back one day back. And I had my friends came over to my house and we worked out. And after the workout, I said, "Hey, you guys want to meditate?" Naturally, I guide the meditation. And at one point in the meditation, after we were done doing gratitude, I said, "Now, feel your heart, and you have one wish to make from your heart, right? And make that wish, and when you make it, let a bird come out of your chest and leave and fly away and that wish is gone. That bird is gone to go fulfill the wish, right? In that moment, my wish was,
I like that.
I want inner peace. I want inner peace. That was my one wish. It was like if I had to make one wish, I was like. So what happened was, I didn't have peace with the past. You know, I didn't. Honestly, I really, really didn't. And you know, and so that same night later, I was telling my sister, you know, about experiences that I had as a kid and how I didn't feel safe, you know, to be myself, or you know how I was telling her how I went through bullying, right, in school on a school bus, and like she's denying it, right? She's denying it like if she has the right to deny my truth, right? And I was like, and she's like, oh, she's like, oh, you didn't feel safe? I didn't feel protected. My parents started talking about it. And I was like, look, I'm not here to decide to argue who had the worst childhood. I'm just telling you.
It's like a victim competition. Like, yo, like I was a bigger victim. Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm not here to argue, like, you know, and I don't need you to acknowledge what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you my truth, right? And she's like, oh, damn, that's nice. And then I was like, I was walking outside with my dog, right? And I was like, yo, my inner parent stood out, right? Stood up for me. So the critical voice in my head was my parent voice, right? Because my dad was very critical, you know, and always like, you know, a sense of incompleteness was always there. Always kind of pointing out, you know, things, and that made me feel insecure as a kid. And in a way, I'm not going to deny that I was put down a lot, and I was frequently told that I was lying, frequently told, like, you know, denied my own truth. But you know, it's my truth, you know. People say that's not what happened. Oh, you were there, right? You were there, right? I'm a liar. Yeah, I don't speak truth, right? I don't see truth, right? So just imagine to a kid, they're saying, you don't see truth, you don't hear truth, you don't speak truth, you are not truth, you are lies, right?
So yeah, it's super interesting how you brought up the fact that your critical voice was the voice of your parents, because I think a lot of the times we do adopt that kind of critical nature in terms of like our parents, and we don't even realize it, like it's unconscious to us. But then it comes up like we're making fun of ourselves in some way or self-deprecating, but then it's thing that
Bro, you're cutting off.
Like the voice of I'm cutting off.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Let me close.
Past like 5 seconds.
All right, let me close some things around.
Everybody who's listening right now, thanks for being patient. You know, you guys are the best fucking fans. You guys are the best listeners, you know. Even though sometimes our video quality wasn't good, people still showed up. Sometimes the audio quality wasn't good, people still showed up. And that's something that we're thankful for, because a lot of times we do these podcasts, and I mean, there are some episodes with like super little views, and you feel a little bit hurt, you know. You feel a little bit hurt that the views gone down. People are there, and I appreciate the people. What were you saying? I was just talking to the audience.
Right. So can you guys hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, as I was saying, like it has taken me a while to change that critical voice from a voice of reparenting to a voice that is like wants me to be better. You know what I mean? Because technically it's like pointing out my spotlights within myself and things I can tweak and refine. So it's almost like the voice of optimization. You know what I mean? It's like if a drill sergeant were to tell you, like, it gets too far when it goes like to bully mode and it's like tearing you down. But then there's also this inner voice that is like the voice of maximization. Like if you have an inner Tony Robbins, bro, you're set. You know what I mean? You're gonna like show up fully. You're gonna do your thing. But if you have like a voice that's crippling you or like is trying to, what was great is you stood up for yourself in that moment, right? And it was like the voice of your adult self, right? It's like your adult nature, standing up for your kid, your inner child, in a sense. Yeah. Finish your story, man. It's super interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. That was something that I was sort of like new to me, and as much as people who might see me, they're like, Ivan doesn't give a fuck. I'm like, no, I do give a fuck, guys. I care. And the thing is, so here's like the real like challenge. Here's a crazy thing it's like. Self-esteem, right? Self-worth, the way you build that is through winning, right? But at the same time, that's not enough, right? It has to come from this feeling of it's okay for me to mess up, right? What happens when we come to school? I mean, we come home and our grades aren't so good, right? Oh, you're punished, right? Because it wasn't okay for you to mess up, right? Just one example there. And then, so that was a really big fear of mine, of messing up, right? And then I was like not becoming successful, like putting my energy in and it all going to waste, like it being useless and it, I'm gonna be nobody, right? That's a real fear that I had. And it comes from not feeling protected from your father. And then from here, this is where it goes even way more crazy, right? The mother and father are archetypes. Like, so your dad and your mom are archetypes for the male god and the female god, right? They're both very important. So that's why in religion, let's just say we have the Virgin Mary, right? And she's like loving and she's caring and she's kind and she's nurturing, right? And then we have the Father God, right? Which is giving, right? Which is he's creating, he's holding space, right?
Yeah.
And that
same thing in Hinduism, actually. Yeah, it's the same thing in Hinduism. Shiva and Shakti is what we use to describe that particular consciousness split. Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is like, because the way you see your dad is the way we're gonna see God, the father figure, and the way you see your mom is the way you're gonna see the female goddess, right? And because I mean, as crazy as this sounds, and I don't want to sound like a martyr, I don't want to sound like I was the victim, right? I know I chose to go through this, but in the beginning in stages of my, perhaps like childhood and going into moving into adulthood, going into the teen years.
Yeah, I call it adultolescence.
Your adultolescence and your
yeah.
Kid, my father struggled with alcohol, and it was a thing that really consumed him, and it made him abusive. Whenever he drank, he became abusive.
Wow. Wait, I just want to stop you there because you just said something so amazing. You said it consumed him, whereas he was consuming it. You see what I'm saying? Like it consumed him. And I think that's very interesting because in the Middle East, they call al-Kul, the translation is body eating spirit.
Mm. Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, I just had to stop you there for that quick nugget for people. But anyway, yeah, continue.
Um, yeah, I don't want to like, give in too many details, but it was just like crazy, reckless stuff. Fights with my parents all the time, stuff breaking, cell phones breaking, not great communication, blaming, shaming, hating, and so yeah, I didn't feel like safe and protected, right, from my father. Now I'm not gonna like also say that he was purely bad, right? Because he's always been there. He's no matter what, he's always provided for us. No matter what, he's always provided for us, right? And he gives so much, right? And he gives so much to everybody. Like my dad, like we'll say, it was my mom's birthday yesterday, and he does this all the time. He'll cook for everybody, right? And he'll make food for everybody, right? He does it with so much love, right? But he doesn't express it like it's love, but I can see that that's real love, right? When you
Maybe that's his love language.
yeah, that's his love language because he struggles to speak his love, right? But he can show his love in other ways that he can.
Yeah, I think a lot of men struggle with that in general. Like fathers in general, I feel like struggle with just being able to speak about things and speak about feelings and bring that up. I think that's quite a big deal for a lot of families. Yeah,
especially back then. Like they come from like the previous generations have been very like restrained. What did you say, so? You're a bit frozen, so I'm just gonna continue.
Oh. Yeah, froze for me for a second. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of children go
Continue.
out thinking that I'm not safe to make these mistakes. I'm not safe to ask questions. You know, when kids ask questions in class and like they don't want to sound dumb, right? Stuff like that. That holds people back, It helps, it's a real thing. It holds people back. So yeah, all of that, I was not at peace with the pain that I had gone through, right? And that's why in that moment, whenever I was doing the meditation and I did the prayer, that I was like, yeah, like I'm inner peace and it's happened. And from that moment, it was just like I had to let it out because I was holding it in, right? I was physically holding it in. I was restraining myself mentally, right? And now I'm so much more loose. I'm so much more calm. I can easily talk about difficult things without being so emotionally attached to those things, right? And and this is the crazy part. And now the way that I feel about women as well has just completely been different, right? Because now that I've found real authentic love within me, right? Real authentic love for all of myself, right? That has shifted how I see women. And now it's like let's just say I was talking to this lady yesterday, and like I looked at her, right? And I didn't say anything. And she's like, you look like you wanted to tell me something. And I was like, yeah, I did, but I'm not going to tell you, right? Because I didn't want to tell her, right? I was like, no, that's embarrassing. No, don't say that, right? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like my inner child, I'm doing this all the time. I'm like, what does my inner child want to do? And my he's like, all right, okay, I'm going to tell you. I just wanted to tell you that your eyes are so freaking beautiful. They're just so big, just so cute, right? And then I was like, they remind me of my dog Happy. Like, you know, he just looks at you with these big old cute eyes, you know, and he's so loving, and you know, and like that to me was like, it was like I didn't want to tell her that I thought she, like, you know, that she was pretty because she was, you know, married or whatever. But I wanted to, like, my inner child wanted to tell her how I felt, right? And just doing that, like, ask yourself, I want to go into the tactics of how to get into this. I'm kind of mostly like storytelling now, and I want to talk about more how to get into your inner child. But yeah, just the freedom that you obtain when you acknowledge that inside of you, you're still a kid. There's a part of you that's still a kid, right? And what happens to old people? They become hard. They become
rigid. Yeah.
Their physical body becomes rigid, right? They become serious, right? They don't joke anymore. They don't laugh anymore, right? And that's because they've been disconnected from their inner child. And your inner child is the leader. This is what you must know. Your child inside of you is the leader, is making the decisions.
Yeah.
Like many people, they don't want to go to work. You've probably seen this, Sumedh, with some of your clients. Those things like, oh, I dislike going to work. I dislike going to school. I dislike da-da-da. And their inner child is like, I'm going to become depressed because that way I don't have to go to work. That way I don't have to go and face that thing that I don't like. Right?
Yeah. For me, you know what it was, man? For my inner child, a lot of it came down to that, like going back to childhood, which is that theta phase of when the child is like 0 to 7 is very, very important, right? For a child and how the subconsciously affected. When I was younger, like my parents would fight all the time, you know, like they would just argue. And that was my idea of a relationship. Like that's what I thought love was, you know what I mean? Like that was my imprint in terms of what I thought love was. And so unconsciously I would seek it out in my later relationships. Like when we weren't fighting, I made it so that we were fighting somehow, or I created the dynamic unconsciously through being more passive or through not allowing myself to express myself or whatever it was. It created circumstances and situations where it would happen more. And it kind of reminds me of that imago theory, right? We kind of seek out people to heal our inner wounds, our childhood wounds. And it also reminds me, like, the inner child is this idea of, like, this feeling of curiosity and freedom, like you were saying. Like, when we're a kid, we have all of these, we don't think about things so much. We're just doing a lot. Right? Even a kid won't worry about offending somebody. It's like, hey, that guy's wearing glasses. Why am I not wearing glasses? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Yeah.
No, man, I'm just fat.
No, man. Nah, I just ate too much of the barbecue. Yeah, something like that, you know? Exactly. Yeah, they're not afraid of this kind of like rigidness or politically correct or like structure or all of these things, right? They're just simply just in it, and they're just curious about life. And I think if we can tap into that curiosity, it really helps in terms of creating a passion. Because Stephen Kotler has this belief that if we're able to create curiosity, only then can we find our passions. Right? It's not the other way around. We think that, because we have passions, we'll be much more curious about life. No, it's like we have to first be like, I wonder if aliens exist. I wonder, who am I? You know, getting that existential question down. And like all this stuff that kids wonder about all the time. I think that's super important in terms of inner child healing. And yeah, so as I was mentioning about the fighting, right? So one of my attachment styles, I did the attachment style quiz. You can try it out too, Ivan. I'd really recommend it. Is we have different attachment styles as children. And it really affects us in our adult life. So my attachment style is fearful avoidance, which means that I don't really like to get into confrontations a lot, like different arguments or different things like that. And I unconsciously probably learned that from like the fighting that I saw growing up, right? Verbal fighting. There was no physical fighting, but just like the arguing kind of made me run away into my room and hide. And so that's kind of like my go-to solution to issues or problems that show up. I've always been kind of not confrontational, but then I've changed the kind of terminology for myself and called it carefrontation, because a lot of times, you know, we're gonna have to become confrontational, but it's not from a space of fear, it's from a space of love.
You know what I think? And since kids like always come up with like we jump to conclusions, right? This is why like I say, like I don't want to blame my parents for the way that I felt, because I chose to go through that experience. At the time, like let's just say stuff like that. You hear when people share their truth, it leads to an argument and a fight, right? It leads to being in danger, you know.
Who sold you that reality?
Egoic danger, or can be physical danger. Sometimes things get into physical fights. So it's like when people are honest and they talk about their, you know, boundaries or whatever, it leads to something negative.
Yeah, I think that's definitely still in the collective consciousness of people. Is they feel like they have to sort of manipulate and like walk a tightrope and like walk on eggshells around people. They still don't feel like their persona is fully like optimized in terms of their, or integrated, you know what I mean? It's like sort of like, oh, I have to pretend to be someone different with my boss, different with my parents, different with my girlfriend, different with my, it's like split, you know what I mean?
Dude, fuck. Okay, so as I was arriving to the party yesterday, after I'm done turning up, and I'm like, yeah, Jesus. I'm singing to the song, and I'm like, and he goes like, in my Father's house, there's a place for me, right? And I'm just like, right.
Are you listening to Kanye, by the way?
I love Kanye's gospel.
Yeah,
it's got a really good beat. Could be a bit more high vibrational, but there's a lot of good stuff. Anyway, and then I get out the car, right, and I'm walking. I'm driving over there, right, and I'm realizing like part of me began to be my old personality of the way I would behave around people, right? Which was less loving, less expressive, less loud, less spiritual, less
at ease, I would say. Like there's like a certain ease that children have, I feel like too.
Yeah. And like as I was walking there, like it was getting into me being that, and I was like, no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. Like I want to be this person right now. And even though it might seem weird for people, like this is who I am, right? And I remember at one point I was dancing, I was turning, I was going crazy, and I can't remember the exact words that I said, but it was something like, if you've been wondering, yes, I am. Something like that. It was like, if you've been wondering, yes, I am. And I just started saying it louder, and I was like, if you've been, as I'm dancing and shit, I'm like, if you've been wondering, yes, I am. Right? And then I turn around and everybody's looking at me. Right? People are like, yo, what the fuck? Right? And the reason I said it though is because I could feel people thinking something about me. Right? Is he on drugs? Is he gay now because he did his hair, or like right? You know, and I was like, yes, I am. Like I was like, whatever you think I am, yes, I am. Like I'm not gonna.
It's like that reminds me of that Eminem song, right? Yeah. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? Yeah, that one. Yeah. I love that, man.
I don't like if somebody thinks something about me.
It's more about them than about you.
I don't want to. I won't know what they're actually thinking about me. Right. But if they're thinking something and it's just like, oh, is he this? Is he this? Is he this? It almost puts their mind to rest. It almost puts their mind to rest. Be like, oh, he is. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's like, it's not this debating. It's like A or B. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now.
You know,
So yeah, I totally get that.
I'm not whatever the fuck.
Closure.
Yeah, if I'm not I'm still. I know who I am. Right. I don't need you to tell me who I am because I know who I am.
That's your tattoo as well. I know what's best for me, right?
Eh.
Gang, gang. Yo, I have a theory though. When you said that, like this old version of me, like peering its ugly head, so almost like I had to act in this play once, bro. This is kind of not related, but kind of related. But I had to act in this play for a monologue where this guy was having spots on his back, and like the spots spoke to him. Like it was like weird, like pimples that spoke to him and shit. Like hello, like, shit like that. But anyway, it reminds me of that. Like in one of the lines in the play, it was like, it reared its ugly little head. And I was like, man, that's exactly what it does. It's like, it rears its ugly little head. You know what I mean? It's like from the past, it's like a visit from the past, but it's like a scab or something growing on you. And you're like, this doesn't belong here. You know, like, why is it growing on me? And, you know, I think I have a theory that to be a great leader, we need to constantly collide with that old version of us. Like keep colliding until it's knocked out at one point. You know what I mean? It's like it'll come up again. You'll use some kind of, you know, chemical to get rid of that spot, and then it'll come up again. But it's like after a while, it's just like it's gone. It doesn't show up anymore because you've gone past it, right? So I think as a leader, you're gonna have to confront your old self constantly, bro, on a daily. And it's like after a while, it's just gonna be like, pow, KO.
Actually, I would
That's
say
just a theory.
if you want to be a great leader,
Right.
you know, actually, I would describe the way that like
Yeah, it's a choice. Yeah.
the thoughts take over our body. It's like imagine a tall glass of clear, pure water comes from the Himalayan mountains in Malaysia.
Man, you're describing me, bro.
Again, you see commercials and they take water enhancer, right?
Yeah.
And they put like a little drop, and that little drop goes, and it becomes big, and it takes over all the water, right? That's how I felt the energy like moving, right? And I was like, kill that version now, kill that version now, that version is now gone, right?
Have you ever watched Way of the Peaceful Warrior?
Maybe.
Ooh, I would definitely recommend you check that out. Because there's this one scene where his ego shows up as him.
Oh yeah.
And he literally kills his ego. Like he kills himself by throwing him off the cliff or something. It's a phenomenal scene. Like it wasn't a cliff. It was like a clock tower or some shit. But yeah, Way of the Peaceful Warrior, really, really good. Really amazing.
Dude, I saw that movie with you.
Yeah. You remember that scene where he was like seeing himself? Yeah. And he like pushes himself off of the thing.
His evil side was trying to
make him shadow side.
Pushing him and shit.
Yeah.
Goddamn, bro. It was a good ass.
Shit is crazy. Yeah, really good movie. Recommend all the listeners to check that out if you haven't already.
What are you? For this present moment.
Yeah, it's like where are you now or something like that, right?
This present.
Yeah, it was a really good movie, powerful movie. And I like how his name was Socrates as well, the guy. Kind of interesting. The philosopher dude, yeah, his like spirit guide, you could say. Yeah. So I have a picture of myself from, I think it was like 6 years old, 7 years old. I can show you guys actually, if you want. Let me show you guys actually. One second.
So what's up, everybody?
All right, so I'm sure you guys can't see that. Actually, you know, if you're listening to the podcast, you probably can't see it, but I have really curly hair, right? I'm like super cute, and I have my finger in my mouth, and actually I'm inside of a bag, like a like a carry bag, because my uncle told me, hey, do you want to come to America with me? And I was like, sure. And he was like, get in. And so I went into the back. But anyway, I thought it was a really cute moment. And so it's been kind of, shot on this camera, and it's crystallized in this one memory. And so I could just see my playful nature, my childlike nature in that photo. And so what I do is I send it love. I send that child version of me compassion. And I sometimes even throw affirmations in its way. So, a lot of us think that, words affect our world. I think our words also affect our aura, right? Because if we're speaking all around us, it's affecting our auric field as well, right? And so technically, like, you making a connection with your inner child as you're speaking to it in your auric field, like if you're holding it next to you or if you're looking at it very close to you, there's something weird that happens. I feel like there's an unconscious connection that gets super glued back together. Like, this child probably deserved way more love, way more compassion, way more gifts, way more, all this more. Not that my parents didn't do a good job, but it's like every child deserves more love. Like, let's be honest, right? So if you do this activity with yourself, there will be some unconscious places where you felt like you might needed more of this. Give him or her that now to fill in those gaps.
Yeah, totally. Be that, like, go back in time. In a way, it is like time travel.
Yeah, totally.
And physicists have proven that you can change the past in the now, right? So imagine that you heal the young version of you in the past, in the mental past, in the mental plane. And then in the now, that's going to affect you. You're going to suddenly be more confident, right? Because that child was confident, right? This is the technique that I personally use. I use my left hand and my right hand, right? You want to grab two different markers, or colored pencils or crayons or something kid-like that kids would do some arts and crafts writing with, coloring.
Yeah.
And you're gonna write with your less dominant hand, because that's like your kid side, right? That's your child is coming out, right? When kids are learning to write, they struggle with writing. It's like new, right? So it's your less refined side, right? You're less. You could even say, let's just stick with that. Less refined.
Yeah, or less explored, I guess, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid using a word kind of like that one, like less explored, because I wanted to emphasize more on how in a way it is dumb. It's untrained to society. I think that's probably better, honestly. It's untrained to society.
Untrained to society, yeah.
And so you ask yourself questions with your dominant hand, right? So first you gotta greet yourself. You say, hello, I want to speak to my inner child. And you left, you say, hello, my name is Sumi, right? I don't know, maybe that's something that they called you when you were little, right? So when you were little, you're like, my name is Sumi, right? Or little cute nicknames that they might have called you. Your inner child is gonna say, how old are you? I'm 7, right? What do you need right now, right? Or and for me, this is what happened when I first started. I was like, what do you need? And I was like, to be held, right? And then I stopped, and the lady who taught me this, she said, now write down what was your experience this first time, talking to yourself. And I was like, this is dumb, this is stupid. And she's like, well, like, talk about any thoughts that might have come up. And she's like, I was just like, yeah, this is stupid. It's not gonna work. I'm not gonna work. I'm never gonna amount to anything. And in the moment, I just fucking like slammed the fucking table, and I was like, fuck. I got so pissed. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Right? And I fucking left. Then I went to the couch and I started talking to my girlfriend. I called her and I was like, babe, I went through this. And she was like, babe, you know, you're not the only one that gets mad, you know. And I was telling her that like I wanted to kill the people that hurt me. Right? Now, a lot of people might hear that, oh, you're gonna kill the people. These are just fucking ideas of the subconscious, everybody. Like if you think like I want to hurt that person, I want to, you know, hit that person with my car for cutting me off, or I want to fucking like we get these ideas all the time. Like don't think you're a bad person because everybody gets these ideas. This is just what happens when you're a human.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person, everybody.
It's because it's in your like emotional junkyard, right? And it's just coming out at random times. And especially if you repress it too much, of course it's gonna come out some way. So for you, it came out in that one moment, and it's like that was the pivoting moment where it was just like a volcano erupted, and then your hair became red. The lava.
You know, yeah. So I'm talking to her, and I was just like trying to piece all the pieces together, like, because let's just say that in those days, that period, that closing period, I'm gonna call it the finishing period, because it was like a new cycle. And right now, I'm in a new cycle, right?
Yeah.
But as I was about to finish that old cycle, I was just contemplating, like, why do I feel unmotivated? Why don't I want to get out of bed? Why don't I want to do anything? Right? And I was like, because I'm not doing it for me. Right? It hasn't been for me. Right? This is something that Alex Becker pointed out I'm taking his business course. And first week, he focuses on the mindset. And he said that a lot of people will say things like, I want to become successful so I can help my family, right? Well, why do you want to do that? Well, because they're going to be taken care of and they're going to look at me with high regard. And then that means that they're going to love me more, right? So if I take care of them, then I will be loved, right? So like, it's like, why do you want to become successful? Oh, it's because I want to drive a Lamborghini. Why do you want to drive a Lamborghini? Because it's a really cool truck. But why do you want to be in a cool truck? Because I want to look cool. But why do you want to look cool? Right? Why do you want to look cool? Right? I want to look cool. Well, look like other people are gonna see, right?
I actually did something similar too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, man, even my success has been to prove other people wrong. Like me becoming successful has been to from pride. It's become from a space of pride of like, I'm better. I'm gonna become more successful than you, faster than you, gonna make more money than you. I'm better than you because you don't know the answers. I know the fucking answers, right? And even when it came to the body, right, to working out, I didn't want to work out anymore at that time. Like I didn't like working out. And like why? Because I wanted to get that sexy body so that people can look at me and be like, yeah, he's sexy. He's a driver. So it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And in that moment, it all made sense, right? And three birds flew by. 3 white birds flew by like in front of the window as soon as it happened. Like, because that's one of my problems actually. A life, I'm not gonna call it a problem, a challenge. This is number 3, right? When you look at numerology, there's a certain number. 21 is the other one of mine. That's why doing the 21, do that 21 times. It's been good for me because it's part of the number, you know.
Yeah, isn't there like a thing like 1 bird, 2 for joy, 3 something like that? Isn't there something like that?
I'm sure, you know, depending.
Or maybe they're magpies.
Depending on what kind of number you have, you want to focus on that number. You can bring that number anywhere you go, you know. So it's like let's just say you want to work on your throat chakra, right? I believe the number for the throat chakra is 16, right? So let's just say you can uh, do 16 somewhere, like let's just say you walk around your house 16 times, or you put 16 drops of essential oil in water,
Mm, yeah.
or you arrange something of 16 things, right? Like bring the number 16 into your life, right? If you're gonna do a meditation or you're stretching, stretch for 16 seconds, right?
Or like 16 reps in the gym or something like that.
16 reps in the gym, exactly. 16 lift.
Mm,
Right?
mm.
You can take 16 shots of tequila, like ah.
Bro.
Gone, dude. You'd be gone.
Off the face of the planet, yeah.
Bro.
Totally. But yeah, totally get that. I'm going to start implementing that more. I think that numerology is so interesting. I told you, right, that one time that I met this numerologist, like it was through Cosmic Code. His name was White Feather.
Oh, shit.
Now you know he's a serious guy, right? If your name is White Feather, it's like, oh, you dove into the rabbit hole. Like you've really gone there. But yeah, he's not on social media, so that tells you again, it's like he's pretty, in there. But basically, what he was saying is, I have a very old soul, and I was like, what does that mean? It means like, I have like an ancient understanding of certain things, and my soul is wiser than my years. So there's a lot of moments in my life where I'm going to find ways to like get up in life, but the thing that will bring me back down is like grudges or like things from my past, or like people weighing me down, or like burdens, things like that. And like what they call it is like resting on your laurels, right? Similarly, what you said about your past, I really resonate with that too, because resting on your laurels, and laurels is like the leaf that like, the Greek, or maybe it's like Romans, like Caesar used to have like the little leaves in it, like that's the imagery for that. So resting on your laurels means resting on your past. So he was saying that like at the moments where I would like want to skyrocket up, there's gonna be different things holding me down, like preventing me to. So I have to practice letting go, actually, as a ritual. Like I have to make letting go a part of my practice every time that there's a big shift coming. I have to consciously practice surrendering to the moment, and that will really help me like keep like elevating, upgrading, and going on and on in my life. But yeah, he was saying that it's very, because he took the numbers of my birthday and my name and stuff like that, and he said a lot of different things. And yeah, he told me it's a couple like the bull and stuff like that. He was bringing like lots of animals and like all, very, very interesting how he was able to say it like and ramble off all of these things about me. Like it's kind of interesting how I've even had it when with certain people that I've met. Like I met this one. Did I tell you I met a Vega starseed girl, this woman that I met, who she sent out a meditation a night ago, and then the next day I showed up, like I hashtag Vega starseed. I found her on Instagram, and I reached out to her on the next day. She's like, "Of course you're a Vega starseed. Like this is just confirmation. I freaking did a meditation yesterday, like calling all Vegas."
Oh.
And I was like, all right, this is sweet. And the 3 cards under the tarot deck that she chose was, one is forgiveness, which was like Jesus Christ, right? The next one was grace. So it was forgiveness, grace, and open heart. So I mean, open hearts, I know that one, right? I close my heart down sometimes when I feel like this is getting too intimate or this is getting too close. Like there's a barrier for me that I feel like sometimes I'm like, man, I just want to close myself off here and just, not go deep into this. There's a tendency for me to do that. It's not my identity per se, but I have a kind of inclination towards that. So I noticed that open heart is really important because yeah, that's one of my superpowers, but I constantly keep like shutting it down, thinking that it's not. Another one was forgiveness. So forgiving my people from my past, again, a past thing, right? And then the third one was grace. Now, grace is like kind of like surrender, right? I don't know in the Christian context, maybe grace might mean something differently. But how would you define grace, man?
For me, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to define it as a Christian because I don't define myself as a Christian.
Right. But in your own context, like what does it mean to you?
I would say is like moving with ease, not trying hard, and things working out.
Yeah, ease for sure. Yeah. So I was talking with one of my mentors right now. I'm training with Vince Kelvin. He's one of the greatest seducers on the planet, you could say. And basically, he gave me this kind of new model of looking at the world. 3 gears. First gear, I'm in flow. Anything not in flow, second gear. Anything not in flow is an illusion. Third gear is neutrality. So when I'm coming from that space where it's like, all right, I've got to decide something. I'm judging myself. I'm judging someone else. I'm judging the world. It's not. It's just neutrality. It's just like, it's curiosity. It's a question mark. So from there, it's like, now I can do something. And I can understand if I'm trying to get into flow, I'm not in flow yet. That's an illusion again. So again, coming back to the flow, coming back to the ease. That just frame shift, because we live in a world where we have very, very small frames, right? We live in a world where we feel like, oh, I must be like this in this particular time, and I've got to be able to do that in this particular way. We're making our frames tinier and tinier as we're saying that, right? Whereas if we're like infinite possibilities, freedom, like ease the belly, groundedness, like sharpness, like just going out into the world and like being free like a child, as you were saying. All of those together, like having that groundedness of an adult and the discipline of an adult and the responsibility of an adult, but the ease and the freedom and the curiosity and the laughter of a child. I think finding that balance is like the biggest journey for a lot of people who are coming into adulthood and fully stepping in.
Yeah, I would totally acknowledge that within you, there is a child, there's an adult, and there's a parent, right? So, all these three exist within you, right? And like, I don't want y'all to think it's like your higher self, middle self, lower self, like in other models. It's just another model of understanding different aspects of you and how you communicate to yourself. Yeah. And one thing that I've been doing is like, what does my inner child want? I'm like, all right, this is what my inner child wants to do, and I'll just do that shit, right? But then sometimes I'll have to like say, my inner child wants me to be disciplined. My inner child wants, like, it's not always gonna be things like some things. Sometimes your inner child is like, I don't want to get out of bed, and I'll be like, that's cool. Like, my inner child's just right, but then my inner child will be like, I want you to get out of bed, right? And then I'll get out of bed, right? And it's like just like asking your child. Like,
yeah, I think that's the thing, is like the main, like finding the balance between the internal parent and the inner child, and creating a loving relationship between them, because I think that's really important. Like, for instance, if I were to ask my inner child, it'd be like, just watch cartoons, like just shut yourself off from the world, just watch cartoons, bro, just laugh it off, and yeah, I do that, you know what I mean? I sometimes like, avoid looking at the news or all the bad media and stuff, and I just go back to my child self and I watch like The Simpsons or something, right? But at the same time, like in that moment, I could also be like reading a book that would help me like unlock a new layer or something like that, or like watching like some kind of a podcast that will give me a new piece to my craft, something like that, right? Which is kind of like training my net behavior time. Of course, sometimes watching The Simpsons, bro, I get deep epiphanies as well because they predict so much shit. Like they predicted so much shit. It's unbelievable, actually. Like especially the one of Trump becoming president. Like that was just unbelievable. But yeah, like when I ask my inner child, it tells me certain things that would be escape activities, but now I see them more as healing activities.
Mm-hmm. They might have been an escape to the adult, right? But to the child, it was like,
it was healing. Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is what I want to do, right? This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
What
was your favorite cartoon like growing up? Did you have one main one? Danny Phantom. Nice. I don't think I watched that as religiously.
It's the first one that just came to my head. I like the character. He was a cool guy. You know what I mean? He helped the world. He saved the world all the time. And yeah, I liked him.
That's awesome. Yeah, guys, let us know. Take a screenshot of this episode, or if you're listening, even just take a screenshot of the episode itself. Send it to us. Let us know your favorite cartoon. We're keen to know what you guys are really like listening to, watching.
Do you feel like closing now? I feel like we spoke a lot.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great points being made here. Yeah, now it's time for you guys to implement it all. That's the real challenge, right? I'm going to totally try it out, the writing with my other hand. I love that.
It's crazy. So
wild. Yeah, and maybe in the show notes we could link people to the assessment, what was it called? Attachment style quiz as well, so they could do that.
Shit. It's a good idea. I like that. Yeah, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I love you. Even if you think I don't love you because I'm not looking at you and I don't even know who you actually are, I still fucking love you. Make no fucking doubt about it. If I didn't fucking love you, then I wouldn't be doing this. Just to let you know. This is for you. So thank you for allowing me to give something to you.
I love that, man. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace and love. Om Shanti. Flomaste.
If you would like to contact Sumedh for peak performance coaching, go to @FlowZone Academy on Instagram. That's FLOZONE Academy. If you would like to connect to your higher self, contact Ivan at odd.resilience. That's ODD.resilience. Also, make sure you follow the Better Man Podcast on Instagram. See you next time.